Hi everyone, Steve here, your teacher for all things finance. Before we dive into today's critical lesson, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment with your biggest financial challenge, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and ensures you never miss future lessons that could save you thousands of dollars and fundamentally change your financial trajectory. Your support is what makes this kind of in-depth analysis possible. Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest, yet most frequently ignored, expenses affecting people's financial lives. It's something most people overlook, even though it sits in plain sight, right in their driveway. Surprisingly, it's not your daily $5 coffee or any of the small habits that the personal finance world loves to constantly blame. Those are minor distractions. The real systemic wealth killer for many households is transportation, and more specifically, the all-encompassing cost of owning a car. Most households share similar spending categories. We all pay for housing, utilities, food, taxes, and transportation. But transportation costs vary dramatically from person to person. A person who buys a used 5-year-old vehicle and drives it sparingly might spend $3,000 a year, while their neighbor who leases a brand new luxury SUV and commutes an hour each way could easily be spending $18,000 a year. This massive variability is what makes it one of the most powerful and hidden expenses in your budget. The psychology of status spending. Society often treats cars like status symbols, and because of that, many people end up buying vehicles that are far more expensive than they can reasonably afford. Think about the messaging we receive. Advertising equates expensive cars with success, freedom, and happiness. We congratulate each other on new cars without realizing the profound financial weight that comes with them. This is what financial experts call keeping up with the Joneses, a dangerous spiral of debt and unnecessary consumption driven by social pressure. We need to detach our financial well-being from the glossy advertisements and the social pressure of the dealership lot. Your net worth is your net worth, regardless of the badge on your hood. Prioritize functionality, reliability, and most importantly, affordability. Right now, car costs are higher than ever, creating an unprecedented strain on household budgets. Used car prices have risen significantly due to supply chain issues over the past few years. This has inflated the cost of the traditionally safe option. Many buyers are committing to monthly payments over $1,000, a figure that used to be reserved for mortgages, not depreciating assets. Dealers are still marking up in-demand cars by absurd amounts, sometimes adding $10,000 to $20,000 in pure profit margin, simply because they can exploit current market scarcity. And this isn't just about the purchase price. According to AAA, the average annual cost of owning a car is more than $10,000. Think about that. $10,000 for one vehicle every single year. When you add that up year after year, a cost of $50,000 over 5 years, or $100,000 over 10, it becomes glaringly clear why transportation is such a massive financial drain. It's the silent killer of retirement funds. Depreciation, the single largest loss. To understand where this money goes, let's look at a concrete yet modest example. Imagine owning a 2018 Honda Civic. It's not a luxury car and not a flashy car. It's known for being reliable and economical. Even so, the 5-year cost of ownership is around $44,000, which breaks down to nearly $8,800 per year. For someone earning the average American salary, that means a significant percentage of their hard-earned income is being completely consumed by a single depreciating asset. The single biggest cost in car ownership is depreciation. Almost all cars lose value over time, and new cars lose value the fastest and most steeply. When you buy a brand new car and drive it off the lot, it instantly becomes a used car, and its value typically drops by 10 to 15% right away. That's $3,000 to $5,000 in value gone on your first drive. This initial loss is purely psychological. You receive zero utility for it. To reduce this cost dramatically, one powerful tip is to focus on bypassing that steep depreciation curve. It's smarter to buy a car that is around 3 to 5 years old. By that point, the steepest depreciation has been absorbed by the first owner. For instance, A car that costs $35,000 new is often available for $18,000 to $20,000 just 4 years later. You are letting the first owner eat that loss, and you get the benefit of a modern, reliable vehicle without paying the highest cost. This one decision alone could save you literally tens of thousands of dollars over a driving lifetime. Leasing versus buying, the lease trap. While we're discussing depreciation, we must address leasing. Leasing is essentially renting a car for the 3 years when its depreciation is steepest, paying for that maximum loss, and then walking away with no asset to show for it. Dealerships love to advertise low monthly lease payments, but these payments do not build equity. At the end of the term, you must either buy the car for an inflated price or walk away and start the cycle over with a new lease payment. Furthermore, leases come with strict mileage caps and massive penalties if you exceed them, often costing 20 to 30 cents per mile over the limit. For the average person, leasing is simply an expensive lifestyle choice that ensures you always have a car payment and zero ownership. In almost every financial scenario, buying a reliable, slightly used car and driving it until it dies is the superior path to wealth. Taxes, fees, and vehicle overload. The next unavoidable costs are taxes and fees. These vary depending on your location but are required for every vehicle. This includes registration fees, title fees, local property taxes on the vehicle, and mandatory inspection costs. These expenses are small individually, but they are a constant, necessary drain, and they multiply with every car you own. Here's where the multiplier effect comes in. If your household owns more cars than you truly need, perhaps a spare car that sits unused 5 days a week, simply reducing the number of vehicles can lower these registration and tax expenses with very little effort. Could you manage with one car and a reliable e-bike for local errands? Or perhaps using a rideshare service a few times a month is still cheaper than insuring, maintaining, and registering a third vehicle all year. Eliminating just one vehicle not only cuts these fees, but also slashes insurance, maintenance, and potentially eliminates a monthly payment entirely. Financing. Smart negotiation and minimizing debt. Financing is another major expense that can balloon the total cost. Most people rely on loans, and current interest rates make those loans incredibly expensive. Even with excellent credit, rates can land around 6% or more. With poor credit, they climb even higher, easily reaching double digits. Let's look at a high-end example. A $50,000 loan at 8% interest over 84 months, a common term today, results in a total of over $15,000 in interest payments. That is money paid entirely to the bank. If you must finance, it is absolutely critical to focus on affordability and minimizing loan terms. Buy a car you can reasonably afford, and avoid stretching your budget just to get something newer or flashier. Opt for the shortest loan term possible, ideally 48 months or less, to minimize the total interest paid. Before you even walk into the dealership, secure pre-approval from your own bank or credit union. This is your leverage. It allows you to negotiate as a cash buyer, turning the discussion at the dealership from, "How much are my monthly payments?" to, "I already have financing, can you beat it?" Putting the power back in your hands is key to keeping the dealer's profit margin low and your interest expense lower. Fuel costs and driving habits. Fuel costs are often overlooked. For our modest Honda Civic example, fuel costs come out to around $200 per month, or $2,400 per year. That's a significant amount of money flowing out of your bank account. For simple fuel savings, be mindful of where and how you drive. Filling up at warehouse clubs like Costco can often save you hundreds of dollars per year. Another easy win is keeping your tires properly inflated, which is one of the most effective ways to improve your miles per gallon. Underinflated tires increase rolling resistance by up to 5%, forcing your engine to work harder. Crucially, practice smooth driving. Studies show avoiding aggressive acceleration and hard braking can improve efficiency by 15 to 30% in stop-and-go traffic. Using this technique is essentially giving yourself a massive raise in fuel efficiency without buying a new car. Insurance. Fighting the loyalty penalty. Insurance is another area where many people consistently overpay out of sheer inertia. They take the path of least resistance. The premium for the Civic example is almost $7,000 over 5 years. Imagine if you could cut that by 15%. That's over $1,000 back in your pocket. Insurance companies rely on the fact that most people are too busy to switch. They often offer their best rates to new customers while slowly raising the rates for loyal existing ones. This is the loyalty penalty, and it is costing you hundreds annually. The strategy that consistently works is to make an annual insurance review a powerful habit. Choose a specific date each year and call your existing provider to ask about lowering your rate. If they can't or won't help, call 2 or 3 other major insurance companies and ask for quotes with the exact same coverage limits. You will be surprised at the variability, and you can often save hundreds of dollars simply by shopping around once per year. Furthermore, consider raising your deductible if you have a healthy emergency fund to cover the difference. A higher deductible means a lower premium, immediately saving you money on every bill. Maintenance and DIY empowerment. Repairs and maintenance are the final major expenses. Some repairs must be done by a professional, but basic maintenance can be easily learned, and it can save you a significant amount of money. Let's look at the numbers. A professional oil change costs about $120. Doing it yourself costs roughly $40 in supplies. If you drive 15,000 miles a year and change your oil 3 times, that's $360 saved annually right there. Beyond oil, a simple cabin air filter replacement costs a mechanic $80, but the part costs you $20 and takes 10 minutes. Furthermore, learning to rotate your tires every 5,000 miles is vital for ensuring even wear and maximizing the life of a costly set of tires, which can run $800 to $1,000. Neglecting this means replacing tires prematurely. Also, when your check engine light turns on, your first move should not be the dealership. You can visit major auto parts stores like AutoZone for a free diagnostic scan using an OBD2 scanner. This will provide a code that tells you the general issue, helping you understand the problem before committing to an expensive dealership visit. By knowing the exact part, you can avoid being upsold on unnecessary repairs and confidently research the fair price before agreeing to the work. Opportunity cost, the multi-million-dollar question. Now let's step back and talk about the bigger picture, opportunity cost. This is the single most important concept to grasp, and it represents the true hidden price of expensive transportation. Opportunity cost is the value of what you give up when you choose one option over another. The money you spend on a car is money you cannot use for anything else. If you drove a cheaper car and saved a conservative $5,000 per year by avoiding high payments, fancy insurance, and steep depreciation, and instead invested that money, the compounding returns are staggering. Let's revisit the clear scenario. A 25-year-old decides to save $5,000 per year by driving an older, reliable car instead of buying new. They invest that $5,000 every year until age 65, assuming a conservative 8% annual return. By age 65, that small sacrifice would grow to a retirement fund of $1.4 million. That is the actual cost of a perpetually high car payment. You are not just paying for a vehicle, you are sacrificing over $1 million in potential retirement wealth. If you are more aggressive and manage to save $10,000 per year, perhaps by becoming a one-car family or moving closer to work, and invest that for 40 years, the total value at retirement would exceed $2.8 million. This figure is not a fantasy, it is the predictable, mathematical cost of spending an extra $800 a month on transportation instead of investing it. This is the hidden toll of transportation. It doesn't just empty your checking account today, it guts your retirement savings tomorrow. Prioritizing modest transportation is not about being cheap, it is about respecting your future self and leveraging the power of compounding interest to build real, lasting freedom. Location, the commute tax. Finally, another powerful way to reduce car-related expenses is to rethink where you live. A shorter commute reduces gas costs, lessens wear and tear, slows depreciation, and perhaps most importantly, saves you lost time. Studies consistently show that the cumulative cost of driving 40 minutes each way 5 days a week can easily negate any savings you gain from cheaper rent further away from the city center. By moving closer to your workplace, you are actively lowering your car's depreciation rate and its maintenance schedule because you are putting fewer miles on the odometer. Furthermore, the average American commuting 40 minutes spends 17 days of their life per year in their car. Imagine getting that time back. Prioritizing location to reduce transportation costs is a powerful long-term strategy that simultaneously improves your net worth and your quality of life. To wrap up, here are the core actionable ideas that will save you the most money. Buying a car in the 3 to 5 year range helps you skip the steepest part of the depreciation curve. Shopping around for insurance each year is a non-negotiable habit that reduces long-term costs. Keeping fewer cars in a household lowers taxes, fees, maintenance, and insurance costs instantly. Rethinking your location to live closer to work or public transit can reduce both expenses and life stress. Learning basic maintenance and seeking free diagnostics saves money year after year and gives you control. I hope this video helps you rethink the true, systemic cost of owning a car and shows how small, consistent financial decisions can create massive financial benefits over a lifetime. Remember, your car is a tool, not a trophy. Treat it as such, and your financial freedom will accelerate. If you enjoyed this in-depth video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check the description for a link to my free finance newsletter, where I share more helpful lessons and deep dive analysis every week. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve, and I'll see you in the next video.